for those who just came in, who already signed their names in front, please be seated because we will start the event pretty soon. As you guys can see, the Zoom is already started as well. People are jumping in inside the Zoom call. So for those who hasn't got any seats, just feel free. There's a lot of free seats open. Go sit and settle down as well. And I will tell you guys what are in front of you guys, which is the devices that you guys can use briefly later once you guys already got seated. So welcome again, once again. Thank you for coming in this afternoon. And hopefully this summit will go on as planned, okay? Check. So there's a device in front of you guys, if you guys can see. This is the translator device. It has 2 channels on it. If you guys turn it on and change to channel 0, that's where you guys can hear all this summit in English. 0 is in Indonesia and 01 is in English. So you guys, if you guys are, you guys wanted to hear the full version in English, you guys can use that device. 01, once again, 01 is in English, 00 is in Indonesia. So the volume is on the left side, the button on the left side. The right side of the button is for the channels. And you guys can hear it in 2 versions. It's in Bahasa Indonesia and it's in English. So feel free to play with the tool. If you have any questions, just raise your hands and the team will gladly help you guys. Oh, ini di depannya ada device. Device-nya bisa dipakai, ada alatnya bisa dipakai buat.
In front of you, you'll find a device here, and this is an interpretation device, and you can hear it in 2 languages. If you click the right side and you click channel 00, it means Indonesian channel, and if you turn it to 01, that is English channel. So if you wish to listen to the conversation in English and Indonesian, because somebody will speak in English soon, you can listen to it here, and you can also translate it into Indonesian. I will also try to moderate using both Indonesian and English at the same time. Thank you.
Check. I would like to say welcome as well for the people at Zoom. Welcome to the PFB Business Summit 2022. And again, welcome to those who came in person. Really appreciate you coming to this event. And we will start shortly, waiting for another 5 minutes or 10 minutes for people to come. That's it. Okay, so selamat datang semuanya.
So once again, welcome everyone. Thank you very much for taking your time to come to this event, the PFB Business Hub Summit 2022. We'll start this event shortly, and if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we will accommodate you.
Okay, so before we all started, I want to share a little bit about the agenda today. So from 3:30, which is until now, at 4, guests will come, which is you guys are already here. Thank you again, once again. And then the next one, I will let Dr. Zaiman Zulkifli from the TRCRC to have their opening remarks, and we'll follow by Thibaut Portevin from the European Union for following remarks, welcome remarks as well, and then we'll continue in the accelerator program, and then the cohort 1 presentation afterwards. So the whole event, you can just read it over here. It will not take until more than 5:30 for the presentations, but afterwards we will have photo sessions as well for the people who are attending it live. But for those who are at Zoom, you guys can fill in the Google form that we will provide at the end after we are done with the event. Jadi hari ini acaranya akan dimulai sebentar lagi, dimulai dengan
We'll
kata sambutan.
start our event shortly, starting with the opening remarks by the CEO of TRCRC, followed by another open remark by European Union, Thibaut, and presentation by the accelerator program, and which will be continued by the presentation of each cohort member. At the end of this event, we will have dinner and we can network with other colleagues.
So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Zaiman from TRCRC for the opening remarks. There you go.
Thank you very much. So first of all, thank you very much for everyone for traveling here. We have participants from Kalimantan, participants from Sumatra as well, and also from the Philippines. So thank you very much for coming here. Big round of applause to you guys for making it through to the final stages, and well done. We also have our members from the panelists as well. So thank you panelists for all making it over. It wouldn't be possible without your help to help develop and help scrutinize and help guide the cohort members all the way through to this process. So that's very important. Members from the EU ASEAN office as well. Thank you very much for obviously supporting this program and also being present here to follow through the progress and the process of this program, and including the members of the ASEAN Secretariat who are here too. Just a little bit of a short background of the EU SUPA program. We are component 2, which is focusing on non-state actors looking at haze mitigation practices through innovative land use management. So from this process, basically, we are getting down to the roots of haze causes and basically trying to look for sustainable solutions so that we can better manage our very valuable peatlands, which provide not only services to the entire globe, but also services to basically the local communities and flora and fauna that are existing within that ecosystem. Oh gosh, what happened? Okay, with that said, hopefully you guys enjoy the next 2 hours of this process. I would like to introduce the next speaker, and thank you very much to the EU office, Mr. Thibaut Portevin, to make his opening remarks online. So over to you.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Can I just check if you hear me well? I hope so. Anyway, yeah, thanks a lot. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to meet you all. It would have been nice to be able, for me to be able to meet physically, but I have to work from home today. I'm very pleased to be here, to be again online, but with partners involved in the SUPA project and from the People for Peat Coalition. I wanted to refer a bit to the SUPA project, but Dr. Zaiman, you already referred to the project. Thank you for your introduction. But as I said, happy to be here with the partners, the World Resources Institute, Yayasan Initiative Dagang Hijau, and the Tropical Rainforest Conservation and Research Center, who are the partners of SUPA, together with GIZ, which implements another component of the program. So happy to be in this meeting with you and other stakeholders with an interest in peatlands. So I probably don't need to tell you how or why peatlands are important. I'm sure you all know this better than me in this audience. They store a lot of carbon dioxide. They also emit a lot when they are drained and deforested. They also regulate water, host biodiversities, provide resources such as fish and timber to communities living in peatland areas. So the importance of peatlands, what I can add is that it's, well, again, you know this very well. What I can add is that it's well acknowledged in EU policies on forest and on climate change. For example, just a few months ago, the European Commission adopted a new proposal for a regulation on deforestation, which reiterates EU's objectives not to contribute to the conversion of degradation of ecosystems such as peatlands due to their importance for global efforts to combat climate change as other sustainable development goals. This proposal aims to minimize the risk that products coming from supply chains associated with deforestation and forest degradation are placed on the EU market. And it also aims to increase EU demand for legal and deforestation-free commodities and products. So I believe this vision and these objectives we have on the EU side, I believe they are shared in the ASEAN region. For example, the new strategy on forest and other land use developed recently by the Ministry of Environment and Forest in Indonesia also gives a high attention to the management of peatlands. These objectives we have on forest and climate, there are policy objectives when it's about EU markets, for example, imports of products, but these priorities are also reflected in our cooperation activities, and notably in our cooperation activities in Indonesia and in the ASEAN region. That's all the more important because peatlands in Southeast Asia are among the most endangered in the world. There are only a few intact peatlands left in the region, and SUPA is the main project we support with a focus on peatlands in the region. With this project, we support the ASEAN peatland management strategy through collective action, reducing transboundary regional haze and mitigating the effects of climate change. Under the project, the People for Peat Coalition brings a wide range of non-state actors, including local communities in peatlands, private industry, non-governmental organizations, research institutes, and financial institutions. These entities are mobilized together to address peatland management challenges with an interdisciplinary and multi-stakeholder response. I think the objective of this workshop today is very interesting. Sustainable peatland management requires that peat-related businesses can thrive in terms of environmental protection, but also economic productivity and social inclusion. Business hubs under the umbrella of the People for Peat Coalition contribute to this by incubating new business models for peatland that strike a balance between economic growth and peatland protection. Alternative business models in areas such as sustainable agriculture, timber, and non-timber forest product models should not only be scientifically promoted, they should also be backed by sound and transformative financial investments with appropriate environmental and social values. This is the key to achieving sustainable peatland management. This is a big challenge and the needs are multiple. Besides business incubation, there is a need to address practices across entire value chains, to improve regulatory frameworks, to change the awareness and perception of mainstream investors and economic operators who depend on peatland conversion, and also to create mechanisms to de-risk investments which are perceived as being too risky. The EU is trying to contribute to this, besides projects such as SUPA, with initiatives such as the European Fund for Sustainable Development. The EU is providing guarantees as well as financial contributions blended with investments from finance institutions to scale up investments, including in areas such as forestry and agriculture. I hope this fund will contribute to new investments in the region, and we are looking forward to building synergies with the SUPA project and all partners who are here today. The audience of this event today, combining scientists and experts, civil society, businesses, cooperatives, and investors, is an excellent opportunity to address all these challenges and to scale up the promising results already achieved by the SUPA project and the People for Peat Coalition. I wish you an excellent workshop, and I thank you again for the invitation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Thibaut, for the presentation. Really, thank you for the EU in Asian for the support for this event. If it's not for them, this event probably will not go as planned. And once again, thank you, Thibaut, and thank you for the short presentation from you. The next presentation that we're gonna listen is Venkata Ganesh. He will talk a little bit about this PFP Business Hub. So please welcome Ganesh.
Good evening, and thank you everyone for being here today. So my name is Ganesh, and I represent Tropical Rainforest Conservation and Research Center, a coalition member of People for Peat. We are based in Malaysia, and through this coalition, we form the PFP Business Hub. And via the Business Hub, we developed the Accelerator Program, giving birth to the cohort members that you will see today presenting your projects. So here, a little bit of background on the Business Hub. Through the Business Hub, the Accelerator Program was formed, and here we are offering technical assistance and business support to successful applicants, the Cohort 1. The Cohort 1 then goes through 3 phases, starting from the screening to the acceleration and then to the investment. So projects are screened for 3 main impact measurements, from environmental protection to economic productivity to social inclusion. The three stages in the screening process is the detailed applications that we go through, then funnels through an interview process, and finally a site visit. Unfortunately, some of the site visits could not have been had because of the COVID-19 situation, but with the help of the panel of experts, the advisory from them was invaluable in selecting our cohort members. Then through the acceleration, the cohort members then go through a 9 months incubation where they are provided with mentorship and business support, all through virtual scenarios, only because we were in the state of a pandemic. And then now to the investment stage, where we are able to match projects to investors. Of course, aligning projects to the needs of the investors and providing regional visibility and also access to capital. While the cohort members go through these 3 phases, we also had other applicants who were not quite ready to be part of the cohort. So here we call them affiliate members, just to tag along, understand what the program is about, and hopefully be ready to be part of our accelerator program or even another accelerator program within the region. Here we want to acknowledge that the cohort members for supporting us in terms of attending all the technical assistance sessions and group mentoring sessions online. And of course, due to the pandemic, we wish we could have been able to deliver these sessions to you virtually, face to face. Next. So a few key statistics for Cohort 1, right? We have supported 6 peatland landscapes through Cohort 1, covering a total hectareage of just more than 42,000 hectares. 23 communities or villages have been benefited. Thank you guys for that. Creating about 55 jobs in total. And we also have eyes and ears in 6 different countries within the ASEAN region. We call them country coordinators to give us a local context and assistance from their respective countries. These statistics omits 1 cohort member, as Lionheart Agrotech will not be here to pitch their business for reasons I'll explain in the next slides. Next. Okay, Cohort 1 members. We have 4 members from Indonesia, and I don't want to go into the details about their project. I want to keep it for them to present to you what their projects are about. But they range all the way from non-timber forest products to sustainable coconut plantation and to eco-pit farm and an agri-tourism park. Lionheart Agrotech will not be pitching today, as their TA needs from us is more in line with identifying environmental and social risk and conducting livelihood analysis and socio-economic surveys. Next. All right, the journey of Cohort 1. So back in 2021 August, Cohort 1 was announced, and that's why we selected our 5 cohort members and 8 affiliate members. They then went through a series of technical assistance with the goal of building capacity. Core modules was covered all the way from business foundations to peatland management, to agriculture on peatlands, and to organic farming, to name a few. Then POEs, our panel of experts, I'll introduce them to you later. They then led group mentoring sessions, right? So this is to be able to get core members to understand their business through a different perspective, and also who are the different players within the landscape that they can rely on as stakeholders. They also went through presentations to fine-tune their business models and business plans. And leading up to the Business Hub Summit, we had pitch practices led by the POEs to get cohort members to be in a more familiar place so they're able to present today. And here we are today at the Business Hub Summit in July 2022, and where cohort members are going to pitch their projects to potential investors. 2 months back, we announced Cohort 2, expanding to more countries within the ASEAN region, with 4 projects coming from Indonesia and 1 each coming from Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. So here we have the panel of experts. Their goal is to provide mentorship, of course, to the cohort members, but also to provide advisory to the secretary themselves. Their areas of expertise range from peatland management to impact investment to some components of social inclusion and paludiculture and organic farming. Next. Because here we are at the Business Summit 2022. Our objectives are clear, and we want Cohort 1 members to pitch their business to potential investors here, face-to-face, or on the virtual call. The panelists will then provide feedback through a live Q&A session after the pitch, and then we matchmake Cohort 1 members with interested stakeholders via 2 platforms, one being the networking session, which is going to be held after the pitches today, and email via for the virtual participants. What we expect as the outcome today is we want our cohort members to be connected to a wide network of investors and understand the current trends that exist within the region. We want to meet the cohort's needs, funding needs, explore mentorship and consulting opportunities, and supply chain collaboration. We also indirectly want them to be able to improve their business pitching skills, to be able to go through similar business matchmaking platforms on other NSA platforms. Next. Our list of panelists come from a magnitude of in the industry. We have our panelists which are here today physically and also virtually. The panelists will play a very important role to be able to provide feedback after the Cohort 1 is pitching, and ask the necessary questions for them to build on their current businesses. Next. The pitch mechanism today is the cohort will have 7 minutes to present their project. So please keep that in mind. And the panelists will then have 7 minutes for a Q&A. We'll then transition to a next cohort member in one minute. Do keep in mind that that all communication between the participants and the cohort members will be during the networking session and via a Google form that we'll be posting on the chat later for the virtual participants. All right, so before we present the cohort members to pitch, allow me to present to you a 2.5 minutes video on our cohort members. everybody, and good luck to cohort 1 for your pitches.
All right, thank you, Ganesh, for the presentation. Really wonderful. So next up, we're going to jump into the cohort members' presentation. We're going to welcome Jam from Wild Wild Pigs. Like Ganesh mentioned before, Wild Wild Pigs is an eco pit farm and agri-tourism park at Leyte, Sabah. Jam, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay, where's the camera? Good afternoon or good evening. But good evening and good afternoon. My name is Jam Colas, as you saw on the screen. I am here today with Ronnie Villaber over there, the handsome gentleman. Yes, say hi. We are from Wild Wild Pigs. And before I start, I want to thank you all for making this happen for Wild Wild Pigs. We are very touched. Okay, first slide, please. Okay, first we start with how we started. Admittedly, when we had the farm, we didn't know that it was special because we didn't know the special qualities of being in a peatland. So we started roasting native pigs, which we raised naturally, and they were free range. You can see on the photo. We got famous for that. That's why we called the farm Wild Wild Pigs. They were like wild in the farm. And we did farm sports activities. So, but without first thinking that it was in the peatland. So through the local community, our partners, and of course, People for Peat, this program, we became more aware of the importance of protecting the peatland ecosystem. So to show you some statistics on the Leyte Sabah peatland forest, we realized that it needs help. Of the 3,088 hectares total land area of the peatland, 65% is drained and reclaimed for agriculture. So we are only one of the many farms in the area. And there are about 600 families that live on peatland. The problem is these families, they are poor, and which brings us to the problem that the lack of livelihood for the families makes them resort to activities that will further degrade the peatland. So we had to do something. That is why we thought of rebranding and relaunching the farm from Wild Wild Pigs, focused on roasting pigs only, to making the farm a social enterprise focused on eco-educational farming. And okay, next slide. We call this initiative as the Peat Protectors Initiative. What we mainly want to do is to provide sustainable livelihood opportunities to convert peatland poachers who harm the peatland into peatland protectors with us, yes. We have our main missions are, first, we want to advocate the protection and conservation of the Leyte Sabah peatland forest. And second, educate everyone, because in the Philippines, the peatland, the concept of peatland is not famous yet. I mean, we just learned it only months ago. We want to educate the public of the role of peatland in climate change mitigation. And of course, three, more importantly, under prosperity, provide regular sustainable livelihood to locals and underserved demographics so they stop degrading the peatland. Next. We found three market opportunities. The first being on peatland education, where you see the check mark, it means we have already had, we've done that. Not extensively, but we've had experience on that. So we've done peatland research. We are the site for peatland research. We did peatland educational events. We've partnered with schools. And what we want to do to pursue this is to do school educational field trips, especially to younger people. There are 4,500 schools in the region, hosting 1.3 million students. If we get only 1% of the population of the students, we would have a potential annual revenue, charging them at $1 per person for entrance fee alone. So it's no food yet, no other things. We'd have a potential annual revenue at $130,000 US annual. So that's amazing. This is what we'll do mainly at the Peat School. They'll be given a certificate asking them to pledge to protect the peatland. They'll also be given a preservation booklet. Also, this is an opportunity for corporations. They can do their CSR at the farm. No, so they will also for foundations, and we can partner with schools and other peat-focused orgs like you guys to make the farm the peat lab. So we'll do our experiments there. Yes. Next. The second is on making the farm a model for sustainable farming. We've tried this, but only on a small scale. You'll see a check mark. We are currently a direct supplier to food service chains. Andox, which is a national food chain, but in Eastern Visayas where we are, they have 20 plus food chains, plus we have friends and everyone. So we get a total of 15,000, sorry, that's in peso, 15,000 peso monthly sale, but only on a half-hectare garden. And we are able to provide now 30 plus food service or market stores in partner network. If we increase it to 5 hectares, we'd have a potential annual revenue of $32,000. Okay, next. Of course, the farm will remain natural or will remain raising natural organic vegetable, organic meat from native naturally raised free-range chicken and pigs. And to ensure sustainability, we will strengthen farm-to-market linkages. Okay, next. The third one is the fun part. We'll continue making the farm a site for adventure ecotourism. Through this, we will provide ecotourism packages in partnership with local government units, hotels, travel agencies, and especially those specializing in ecotourism, which are increasing in number lately. Last year, we were not even open all the time. We got 1,000 more or less visitors. Not all of them were paying. Some of them were our friends. But on that note, we get an average revenue per visitor at $5. So if we add the one that we will ask for you to fund, so if we put key infrastructures, and we can potentially increase the number of visitors to 5,000 visitors in a year, spending an increased amount of $10 each, which would potentially give us $50,000 in a year. So that sounds amazing, right? Okay, next. These are what we wish to put in the farm. So you want to have a peat pavilion, which will really look good in Instagram. Peat walk, a watchtower, guest pods so they can stay overnight. And of course, aside from dining and doing farm stays, they can continue doing outdoor adventures, such as what we offer now. We do ATV rental, horseback riding, and overnight camping. And they can interact with wildlife through birding activities and trekking. The farm is host to the latest Sabah Peatland Forest is host to 64 species of birds. So if they stay there, they potentially see all these birds. Okay, next. Also, we can offer these products. Currently, we have Iba Jam, or what you see there, Kamyas Marmalade. We also do coconut vinegar. But if we become famous, we can also sell the merchandise. So people who get there, they'd want to buy t-shirts, a souvenir. It looks good. And we can make hand soaps and stuff. Possibilities are endless. So to make this happen, we will need an infusion, a capital infusion of 8.5 million pesos or $165,000. Majority of this ask goes to building key infrastructure, the one I showed you earlier. 10% for capacity building of local partners. We have 4 barangay partners, local communities. So that will go there. And of course, we'll need technical assistance because we are not yet experts on the field and on many other things. And to make it famous, we'll allocate 5% for market operations. if all these plans happen, we'd potentially get a target monthly revenue of 1.25 million pesos, or converted to US dollars, that's 22,000 monthly. The biggest earner would be on Pete School, 43%, and Pete Experiences, 33.3%. Next. Should you decide to help us, and hopefully you will help us create 100, convert 100 duck poachers into peat protectors, provide livelihood to 100 families, get 100,000 pledges from people oriented on the role of peatlands in climate change by the Pete School, and reforest, that is our commitment, reforest at least 10 hectares with native trees. We've started going through this direction because as of now, we've already reforested at least 3 hectares. We planted it with native tree seedlings through the latest Aba Peatland Restoration Initiative. And we've hosted so far with 100 gatherings, that's family outings, educational events, parties, tournaments, etc. And through this, we've employed 20 locals in the community. And just quickly, we want to show you all the partners we were able to partner with. In the course of all this, we have our academic partners, non-government organizations, government partners who are all very supportive of us, and also some businesses. And there. Thank you. For this last slide, we show you the team composing Wild Pigs. That's me there. Ronnie and I, we are co-founders. I'm a lawyer and a licensed environmental planner, among others. Ronnie is our he is our main farmer. And together with Ronnie and I are our science officer, Chris Sabando, and our marketing officer, Mitzi Sabando. That's all. Thank you. Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jen, for the presentation. So next up, we will let the panelists, which is, we have 2 panelists over here. We got Dr. Donna Reyes, and we got Tifa from Rabobank, and Dr. Donna Reyes from Philippines. So if you guys have any questions, there's a microphone in front of you guys, and go ahead and ask the questions.
Good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations, Jam and Ronnie. That's a good start already for peatland conservation in Leyte Sabah. So 80% will go to your infrastructure. If there's an investor
Yes.
who will ask you now, what is your return on investment and what's your level of confidence that you will get it, and what measures will you undertake?
Thank you for the question, Doc Donna. Well, if all the parts are in place, we are confident that we'd be able to get the 1.25 million pesos revenue monthly, because because of COVID-19, people want to be outdoor and we are outdoor. And if we put all the key infrastructure in place, it will be so much fun. And there is no other similar business entity in the region. So potentially would be, if we become also famous, market will not be limited only in Eastern Visayas, but the whole of Philippines. And maybe even you guys, you'll fly to Tacloban, to the Philippines, just to see wild5. The return rate, to answer the question, if all those happen, we computed to be, the payback period actually is, the payback period would be at 5.5 years. I hope that answers the question, Dr. Donna.
Hi, my name is Diva from Rabo Foundation. It's nice to meet you and see your presentation today. I just have a very quick and simple question. If you were to work with an investors, please describe your ideal type of investors. Is it an angel investor or an organizational investor? Please.
Thank you very much for the question. Yeah, I had that in my notes and somehow I forgot. Well, the primary consideration would be, we want our investor, first of all, to be like-minded. We want the investor to share our advocacy, because we wouldn't want to turn this into a regular business where profit is more importance than all other. So what we want is for an investor. We're actually not familiar with the kinds. We just want to know that our hearts are in the same place, so that whatever nuances a peatland farm would give, our investor would understand. So yeah, like-minded investor. Of course, we prefer grants. I have to say that. I was thinking that maybe we could get grants for capacity building, for example, or technical assistance like this one, which came to heaven to us, from heaven to us. But yeah, an investment on the key infrastructure would be very amazing. Investing on us would not just mean getting your money back, but also helping 600 plus families get out of poverty, and more importantly, save the Lake Peatland forest. That's huge. That's saving. Yeah. So I hope that answered the question. Yes.
Thank you for the answers. Do you guys have any other questions, additional questions? So if there's no other questions, there will be an online questions from Zoom right here. We can see it over here. We have a question live over there. We start for that first. Mr. has a question over there. We're gonna start with you, sir, first.
Test.
Can
Yeah,
you
maybe battery maybe.
I think it's good. Sorry.
Yes, I'm Doli Priyatna from Lantara Foundation. So I'm a part of POE here. So yes, my question is first is the status of the land, of the peatland. Whether this land is a private or government land. That's my first question. So if government land, is there any license that you need to gather or to for this is for the long term, yeah? Is there any license that you need to get? And second question is about you mentioned this program also want to increase the community, local community. So is there any community group working with you, and how to share the benefit with them? Thank you.
I may answer directly. Thank you very much for the question. I'll start with the second question. We coordinate through the local community. We coordinate with their barangay local government unit. I'm not sure if it's the same structure with you here, but they have barangay or local community officials. So we discuss things with them. Yeah, whenever we need employment. So the direct benefit would be direct employment. But we were actually thinking that if the farm starts earning profit, we'd also share some percentage of the profit through in ensuring that the Protectors Initiative would always have funding. So in that way, it becomes more sustainable because part of the income will go through will go to sustaining the initiative. The first question was on the status of the land. In the 1980s, more than half was converted to A&D, alienable and disposable lands. So where Wild Pigs is already private land. So yeah, no more, there won't be, I mean, aside from the usual business permits and everything, there won't be a need to get another instrument for us to be able to operate. And in fact, we are partners with the local government unit, with the municipal local government unit, and the mayor is very supportive. She's actually had her wedding photo shoot at the farm. Yes, just to support it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do you have any additional questions? You have additional. Oh, I'm sorry, but due to time constraint, we all have an online question first, so we're gonna go for that, and if we have more time, then we'll go to. So go ahead, Felipe has a question online.
Hi, thank you so much. Hi, Jam. Congratulations on your presentation. I have a specific question in terms of your revenue model. I'm interested to know where is that 1% projection coming from in terms of the learners coming into the pit, to the enterprise, because I think that is a major strategy. So where's the basis of your 1% projection? And that's the revenue side. The cost side of the revenue business model is the cost structure. Where is the cost structure of the enterprise now, and where are you in terms of that 8.5 projection? Do you have equity to share as well?
I can answer now. Hi, Felipe.
Yeah.
Yes.
You.
We are actually now at pre-revenue. So everything that we have done, we try to do as proof of concept. The 1% written on the projection is, we estimated it to be the population of the schools nearest the farm, which is the capital city of the region. That's Tacloban City. So it's very near, which means it's very viable at 1%. I'm sorry, I forgot the other questions.
Yeah. Okay, so that means today the 1% is just based on the projections and not on a market study basis. Okay.
I think well, doing a market study would be one of the technical assistants we'd appreciate getting.
Okay. Yeah, that's understandable, Jam. No, the other one is the cost structure, because the revenue side of the business model is kind of clear now. What about the cost of the enterprise? At present, what are your major costs, for example?
Well, at the moment, during our pilot run, our run for proof of concept, our cost run at 30 to 50%, more or less. But we are not that efficient yet. So I guess if we put everything in place, we'd be able to lower it to, across all activities at 30%, making the profit margin, putting the profit margin to 50 to 70%, more or less.
Okay. Thank you, Jam. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Felipe, for the question. Due to time constraint, I think we will cut off the question time limit until now. So if the live person, if you guys have any question, we can ask later on after the session. And for the people online, if you guys have any further question, you guys can fill the Google platform later, which is Google form, and you guys can contact the presenter right away for the questions. And once again, thank you, Jem. Please round of applause for Jem for the great presentation.
Terima kasih.
So next up in line, we will have Dede Purwansyah from PKH Pesona Kalbar Hijau. As mentioned before, Pesona Kalbar Hijau is non-timber forest products in West Kalimantan. And just with the Wild Pigs and other cohort members, they have products are displayed in the backside of this event. So if you guys want to take a look of their products and wondering what they have to offer, go ahead and look after the event. And furthermore, let's give Dede a round of applause for their further presentation. Thank you.
Halo, selamat sore semua. Saya Dede Purwansyah.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dede Purwansyah. I'm from Pesona Kalbar Hijau, or PKH, from West Borneo. Next slide. So in this case, I would like to inform you that at the moment, the MOEF, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, gives access to the community to manage the village forests. And this also includes what's available in the Padang Tikar landscape, which in this case consists of 5,539 hectares of peatland.
merupakan dari sebuah organisasi
So we are an organization.
yang bertugas mencoba
We are
membangun
a micro business in this case, and we try to create opportunities for the smallholders.
masuk ke nilai
So we provide
ekonomi
them
bagi
with
masyarakat yang ada di
opportunities,
sekitar hutan.
and we also create
Salah satu
economic value
yang
and
kita lakukan yaitu melakukan
livelihood.
pasok. Kemudian yang
This is
kedua,
done by
coba
providing them with
membuat
opportunities to be
fasilitasi
part of the
pasar,
supply
market,
chain,
kemudian
and
yang
we
ketiga
also
mendapatkan
carry
nilai
out market
bagi masyarakat yang
facilitation
kita
activities.
dampingi.
We also
Kita
try to provide
membuat
facilitation to
produk
increase the
masyarakat,
community's productivity,
kelompok usaha perhutanan
and
sosial
we
tersebut juga
also
memiliki
help
kejiwaan
the
entrepreneurship.
community to
Kemudian
build
lanjut.
their entrepreneurship spirit. Going on to the
Dari
next
sini
slide.
kami beranjak mencoba untuk menjadi akselerator,
So here we are
inkubator,
also trying to serve as an accelerator and an
menjadi sebuah
incubator
pemain baru
to
untuk
be
bergabung di
one of the
bisnis
new
ini.
players to also
Dan
take
kami
part
melakukan
in
lobby
this
agar
business.
pemerintah tetap melakukan
And
proses
we
evaluasi,
also lobby the
proses
government in
penilaian,
this case
memperkuat komunitas-komunitas
through
kelompok,
networking
membantu
and through
pembentukan
also
desanya,
strengthening
dan juga
the
kelompok
various
usaha
community
perhutanan sosial.
groups.
Jadi bisnis kami tidak sendiri,
So our
tapi
business
kita
in this
berusaha
case
untuk
is not working in
membawa
silo,
masyarakat.
but we
Yang
also
kami
try
lakukan
to
yaitu mencoba
assist the
menggandeng para
community.
donor,
In this
para
case, we
investor,
try to also work
kemudian
together with the donors, with the
kemudian juga
investors,
paling penting yaitu market.
and most
Karena
importantly is
hasil
also
produk
the
usaha kami
market,
tadi
because
menjadi
the
tidak sempurna
product
kalau
in
tidak
this
sampai
case
kepada pasar. Maka kami akan
will be
coba
useless
untuk
if it does not
membuat sebuah
reach the
market
market. And
yang
as such, we try to
bisa
create the
mendongkrak
market
produk hijau
to
masyarakat.
ensure that
Dari
we
skema
can
ini
better
kami
promote the
coba
green
untuk
products
menawarkan
that
kepada masyarakat,
the
mencoba
community
kami dorong kepada mereka
produces.
untuk
We try
investasi
to also give a
cash dana
commitment.
20% dari hasil keuntungan murni untuk
So
membagikan
we, in
kepada
this case,
masyarakat
allocate
bagaimana
20%
bisa
of
dijalankan.
our
Lanjut.
profits back to the
Dari
community.
ini penggerak roda pesona kalbar hijau memang terdiri dari 3 komoditas unggulan.
And we
Yaitu
have
pertama
3 main
yang
commodities.
kuning
The first
itu
is
adalah
honey,
kopi, dan yang ketiga
the second is coffee,
coconut sugar
and the
ataupun
third
gula
is coconut sugar,
Dari
or
madu
what we
ini
refer
kita
to as
mendatangkan
gula samut.
75%.
So
Yang
firstly,
ini
honey
angkanya
contributes
sangat
75% of our revenue. So
tahun
it's a significant contribution.
2020
This is
sampai 2021.
our data for
Kenapa honey?
2020 to 2021.
Lain.
So
Padahal
what
banyak
exactly
kesempatan
makes
bisnis.
honey
Kami mencoba
superior compared to the
menambah
other
nilai untuk
commodities?
menambah nilai
Well,
pasar
in this case, we
dari
try to create an
produk
added
kita.
value for the products
Perlu
that
kami
we have
mencoba
produced.
punya eco-green.
In this
Itu yang
case, we
pertama.
try to have
Yang kemudian
eco-green
kedua,
products
kita punya
that also
pelestarian loyal.
support
Lantai 2
environmental
loyal
conservation.
dari aspek temu usaha
Another
perhutanan
supporting
kita.
factor is that we have
Jadi
loyal
dari
customers.
Surabaya kita mencoba untuk dari
In
20
Surabaya,
menjadi 40, kemudian Jakarta
we also
dari
try
20
to
menjadi 40,
increase
kemudian kami masuk menjadi
our market
menemukan
from 20 to
pasar
40
pasar
kilograms and so on.
yang
And we also
ekspor
try to
di
penetrate
Singapura
the export
sebanyak
market,
28
in this
ton per
case,
bulan.
Singapore. And currently it's at approximately 28
Kemudian dari
kilos
sini
on a
kami
quarterly
mencoba untuk
basis.
bagaimana menyiapkan mengajak teman-teman mitra
We
dagang
also try
bagaimana
to
mengganti
engage
mereka
our
menjadi
youth
bagian
partners
partner
so that
di
they can
berbagai
also be
saluran
part of our
publikasi
partners,
dan
especially with
inovasi
regards to
e-commerce.
publication and
Untuk itu
innovation in
kami
e-commerce.
dari saluran semua ini yang paling penting yang
So
kami
from
lakukan adalah
all of these
bersosialisasi bersama
channels, what we
pelanggan.
find to be most
Bahkan
important
sekarang
is
setiap
face-to-face interaction with the
pameran
customers
kami
and
akan
also taking part in
ada
various
sebuah display. Itu kami
exhibitions.
coba untuk closing di situ.
We
Lanjut.
try to not only have a display, but actually have transactions.
Kami coba untuk membuka diri kepada
We also try to
para
further
investor, para
open
donor
ourselves to
dengan
investors and
modalitas
donors.
mungkin kecil, tetapi ini
Perhaps
sebuah
this
permulaan
is
bagi
still
kami
considered to
untuk
be a
coba
small amount at the
melihat
moment,
apakah kalau
but
kami
we
tidak
also
bisa
try to
mencapai ini,
ensure
kita belum tahu
to
berapa
continue to
investor akan mau
increase
untuk coba
our business scale.
menyalurkan 750 juta. Nah, dari
So
sini
we're
kami
currently trying
melakukan
to do
apa?
that,
Kami
and
mencoba untuk
we're
menambah
targeting
daya modal.
750 million.
Katakan
So we
kita
try
coba
to
untuk
increase
tahun
our capital
ini
in
adalah
this case.
210 juta untuk siap untuk
And this year,
dipersiapkan untuk
I
pembiayaan
think
modal.
it's approximately at
Kemudian
210 million that we are preparing for our
karena
capital.
sampai hari ini kita masih melakukan
And we are
eksploitasi
also
yang
trying
ada di
to
bawah
develop
yaitu
a
menjadi
production
di
center
CEO Ponder
because
sendiri.
at the moment
Dan ini sangat membuka
we are
tanda
still
membuat
doing
kami
home production
khawatir untuk mencoba
and we have
ke
concerns as
luar
well.
dari rumah.
So we
Kemudian
try to have a specific dedicated production area. Now, with regards to supply or the provision of this production area, we will certainly need equipment, and this will require approximately 240 million in capital. And we try to allocate a maximum of 50 million for e-commerce, because the most dominant market, although in terms of amount, perhaps it's still low, we find is actually from the e-commerce, and we hope to be able to broaden our e-commerce market. And we also, in this case, trying to increase the number of outlets that we have. People for Pete and also WRI has seen these outlets. This is our way of expanding the market, and we hope to have these types of outlets near to the market so that we can also display our green products. We can have face-to-face interaction with the customers. And last but not least is for operational needs. Because with the increasing number of outlets and so on, we will certainly need an increasing number of human resources, which translates to operational costs. And in 2018, we obtained this award. And in 2020, we were named as the local economic heroes. This is done at the community level. And we also have received a certification from the National Certification Agency. So this is our business growth. We started from 500,000, then this increased further. And throughout this process in 2020, there's a typo, I apologize. It's stating 25%, but actually it's 50%. And we were able to have a revenue of approximately 4 million to 24 million rupiah. And other sources of revenue are by becoming a facilitator, an incubator, by also partnering with other parties as well, so that we can replicate this to other social forests in Indonesia and abroad. Next slide. We are also optimistic with this market composition. So it covers approximately 15,000 ton and 150,000 ton. This is the Indonesian community's consumption. And this is an official data that was issued by API, which is Indonesia's Bee Association. And we found that 50% of that is actually from other countries. We want to be able to take over this market, because by doing so, we will be able to achieve 15 tons each year, starting from next year. And what we have here is 4.6 tons. And our revenue is approximately 3 billion. And we have about 800 coffee shops in Pontianak. This continues to grow. And we also did a field survey. So we also sent our team to conduct this survey. And what we found is that actually not all of these coffee shops promote the local coffee. And from the rehabilitation, we found that we can firstly focus on 20 outlets. Why 20? Because we're estimating that these 20 outlets is equivalent to approximately 400 kilograms per month. And that's equivalent to about 34 million per month. So this is our team. We try to involve the youth. I am the founder, and I am certainly older than my other colleagues. But basically for us, this is something new. Nevertheless, we try to be consistent to further involve young entrepreneurs to create local products that are conservation-based. And here we also have Masri as our program manager, and he is in charge of designing other business alternatives for the community. And we have Wustomi here as a finance manager, because if we have poor financial management, we certainly cannot be successful. We basically do not work in silo. We have approximately 500 to 1,000 smallholders, in this case, green smallholders, that are ready to be our suppliers. So we are confident that we can expand to not only the domestic market, but also the international market. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for listening as well. If you guys are interested with the honey, you guys will be provided with the honey product from PK Hub. It will be in the goodie bag when you guys receive it in the end of this event. So without further ado, for the two panelists, you guys have any question, go ahead with the questions and hopefully they can answer.
Oke, aku pakai bahasa Indonesia aja ya. Aku suka banget
So I will use Indonesian. First of all, I like this business model. It's a combination of environmental oversight and social enterprise. And I think the reach is also quite significant, more than 500 smallholders. However, the issue is that economic activities in the peatland areas are oftentimes undervalued and underinvested. So the concern from the investor point of view is, how do you secure supply?
A standard of quality yang bisa masuk ke pasar-pasar domestik.
And how do you ensure that you're able to penetrate the domestic and international market? So what are the strategies that PKH implementing to secure
di Jakarta maupun di Kalimantan Barat.
So in this case, we try to further develop our network to not only West Kalimantan, but also Jakarta. In this case, we also try to implement SOPs. This is covering our harvest process, and we also ensure that we have sufficient feed, but this does indeed need financing. And this is also done from our rehabilitation. So from that, we then try to create value and we are able to market it. So another thing that we are trying to do from this scenario is that we will prepare detailed SOPs, and we also try to develop the production area, because it won't be logical if we try to target 15 tons of production but still remain a home production. And in this case, for consistency, we also hope that there will be, despite the fluctuations in the peatland, we hope to continuously ensure that we have good production in the area. So it's only a matter of how can we maintain the rhythm for this intervention and rehabilitation. And the third thing is to ensure that we can avoid fires in the peatland, where not only involving these two groups, but also other groups that can also take part to protect the forest. So when they burn the forest, they also realize that this also affects their honey, because the bees would want to avoid fires. So we try to also educate the community.
Thank you. The question. So before we jump into maybe Dr. Donna has a question, we will follow up a question from the online first, and then if they have time, we will continue with your question. The remaining time for questions will be 3 more minutes, so just keep that in mind, okay? So we have a question from Atika Benedicta from Angin. Atika, you can come up with your question.
Terima kasih. Saya izin pakai bahasa Indonesia.
Thank you. Please allow me to speak in Indonesian. My name is Adika from Angin. My question is related to the investment. You said that the need is 500 to 750 millions. What is the target revenue you are thinking about? Because eventually the investors will have to know that with this amount of investment, this is your target. That's my first one. And if you have to prioritize things, which market you would like to prioritize on? Because as I observed, you wanted to touch the local one by opening stores, which means your target is local neighborhood, and the second one is e-commerce. So mostly it's national level. But there's one you mentioned also about export. If you have to prioritize the markets, because you can maybe you are unable to address the three targets in the roadmap all at the same time. What would be your priority? Thank you, Kak Atika from Angin. A very interesting question. How did we choose the specific market? Why did we try to mobilize the e-commerce as well? And why did we place under 50 million? This aims to help us to monitor the market. We have already conducted a market survey using Google Form. We have disseminated this survey to identify the community's interest in the honey. It turns out the demand is quite high, especially with the propolis, and this health business, if I may call it, has such a good future. Why are we insist with the stores? Because we need to have a proper display where we can showcase our products. If we display or showcase it at home, it might bother our privacy, our children's privacy, and so on. So we try to make our stores close to the local market, and we also prepare. So the question is, why do we try to target the local market? Because we want to maintain the momentum or the rhythm. We don't want that we make people outside to be healthy while neglecting the health of our own community. So what we are going to do for our local market is educating the community as well as engaging the community and the government. We engage the government to be part of the off-taker of our honey with a proper price and make this as their program to address the stunting of our kids so that it will not bounce back to the previous rate of stunting. So that is our very intention. So that's my answer, Kak Atika.
Thank you, Tika, for the question. If there's no more further question, we can jump on for one more question from the live panel. Once again, thank you, Tika. And Dr. Donna, if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, thank you. My question is, how do you engage the local farmers in your business model? For example, do you have a profit sharing scheme?
Siap. Kami menyiapkan itu.
Yes, ma'am. So we have prepared, actually in the beginning, we have mentioned about the protection fund, as we call it, which is 20% of the total net profit. In addition, at this position, we are situated in the middle. In our supply chain, we are in the middle. The local community can still do their production as usual, but we improve or upgrade their values. We facilitate them, these small business groups consisting of almost 1,000 people, to maintain the rhythm or the quality of their honey, their proper harvesting technique, and their productivity. So we keep engaging them continuously. If we die or if we stop working, at least they will be ready to get into the market. So we have prepared the local markets in different villages to mobilize the local village businesses units to be part of their local market. The impacts that we obtain from this effort is quite significant. Our packaging, in our package, you will always find a small description in the form of barcode on our honey. which shows the information and the map of the village. And this means a wider community will be aware of our village, and hence it will create another impact, which is the honey ecotourism in peatland forest area. That's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So there's another question online, but by the way, thank you, Dede, for the answer. So we're gonna let Gisela Ludiardo from C4D Partners to ask the question online. Go ahead.
Halo, selamat sore Pak
Hello,
Dede.
good afternoon, Pak Dede.
Saya punya pertanyaan.
I have a question.
Seperti yang tadi sudah dibilang,
As you mentioned earlier,
produksi-produksi yang dijualkan itu
the produce that you sell are those honey harvested. Usually, when you talk about harvest, there is a seasonality of such a product due to weather or season. So my question is there any seasonality in your sales model in your company? And if there is, what does it depend on? Is it on the customer's orders or demand? Perhaps in certain months, maybe the order will spike during the Eid al-Fitr, for example, or does it depend on the production capacity of your own? Thank you, Giselle. With regard to quantity and standardization of our products, to maintain this, we strengthen our supply chain. We prepared 10,000 units to address this issue, and we network with colleagues in the Kalulut cultivation areas in West Kalimantan, which means the supply will never be a problem. What we need now is, again, the market's position. But when it comes to market, we have to admit that there is some seasonality. During the fasting month, near to the Eid festival, we fell, and yet we bounced back in June. So we have prepared several facilities by, for instance, obtaining the proper legality or certificates from the government. This way, we are ready to get into or penetrate the local market. We also engage in Indomaret or mini markets and other local mini markets. We have conducted a survey in West Kalimantan, including the Pontianak city as well as Singkawang city. As you know, it's very famous for tourists, and also in Sintang district, which will become our new capital city. We did all those things to ensure continuity, although we already have our own stores. So we can maintain the rhythm or the productivity of our honey. If in the previous years we obtained 18 million rupiahs as a revenue per month, maybe by having stores and strong presence in e-commerce and by engaging the mini markets or supermarkets, maybe we can achieve the 15 tons per year production. We are pretty optimistic about it.
Thank you, Dede. Okay, thank you, Giselle, for the question. If there's any more questions from online, just keep it coming. Sorry for the delay, but we'll try to get as much questions as possible from the online since this is probably their only chance to receive direct answer. So if there's any questions online, just raise your hand. There's no time. So for afterwards, if there's any questions coming, just keep it coming. So Dede, thank you so much for the presentation. Give a round of applause for Dede as well.
Terima kasih.
Thank you.
So next in line, there will be from Agrapana, Baba Diki Asmoro will have the presentation. If you guys have any question about the products and everything, probably for those who came in live event, we can ask the questions later when we have the when we have our dinner and photo session, and we will try to have a lot of more questions from the online and ask it more rapidly. So Padiki, go ahead and have their presentation. The floor is yours. Give a round of applause for Padiki as well.
Selamat sore semuanya, Bapak Ibu. Ikan gabus sebagai
Good
penjaga.
afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Snakeheads as the protector of peatlands. Nice to meet you all. My name is Diki Asmoiro from PT Agrapana Dayamayanti Indo Biotech or Agrapana Bio. We are a newly established company in 2019. We focus on R&D and we try to apply effective technology and local wisdom. We also focus on ecological restoration. Next. We know that Indonesia has endured a lot of problems due to forest fire, which were triggered by peatland fire. In 4 years or 5 years, 4.4 million hectares were damaged, about 8 times the size of the island of Bali, and have affected our future generations' life as well as the climate change. And therefore, there are 15 million hectares of peatland that we need to protect, which is almost equal to Java in size. Well, actually, it's even bigger. How can we protect all these things? We have to maintain the water table on the lands, and therefore we invited the local governments who have the programs for or ecological preservation to work together with us, such as Siak Hijau in Siak District and Sintang Lestari program in Sintang District. We tried to engage them. What do? We engage the government and push them to ask the local community to cultivate or to farm snakehead fish, because these snakehead fishes are endemic animals in the peatland areas, the results of which will be processed in our facility together with the local community. Why do we focus on snakehead fish other than being the fact that it is endemic animals in the locations? We learn from the local wisdom all these times when the local community got injured or after women gave birth, they would always eat a lot of snakeheads. Even the local hospital, because it was so difficult for them to get the albumin that is contained a lot in the snakehead fish, they always proposed the local people to eat a lot of snakehead fish. The best albumin content that we can produce now come from the snakehead fish. You can get albumin from human being, but it must be injected in very expensive. So one of the alternatives is the oral albumin, which is produced only by the snakehead fish. I believe many of you have already known about the snakehead fish. It is an ugly fish, right? And it so smells fishy if we don't properly process or treat it. But this fish produces a lot of high quality and value products, including the albumin. Albumin can serve as the raw materials for traditional albumin or supplements. The remaining meat can be converted into protein powder that can be the raw material to make snacks or dry cakes or cookies, which can also be used to address the stunting programs in different rural areas. The other parts of the fish, which is the meat, can be used to support the culinary programs in the local areas. Even the head and the tails can be converted into non-chemical fertilizers that can be used in the other peatland restoration programs. So basically, I can say that the fish produces almost no waste. And this is only just one thing that we talk about, just the albumin. We haven't even talked about the albumin and the collagen, and also to convert it into fish oil. How do we process the fish? Agrapana invited the local community to join into village enterprises and cooperatives. We established a joint limited liability company such as the Siak Lestari. In Sintang, the program has also kicked off. We have also constructed a local laboratory so that they can try to find out what kind of products they can produce. All those labs are operated by the local people as well. This collective company We'll also engage other communities to be their parts or their members or partners. It could be as suppliers and processors, and they can even join us as a reseller of those products. We have also provided some raw materials to be treated by the new small enterprises. We can trigger the local people to create new businesses out of this, and they can take the raw materials from our collective company. So we can develop fertilizer, for instance, for different restoration programs, and we can plant this in peatland areas. And we have tested this out, and it was quite fruitful. Our main focus for distributing the albumin is the local government hospital. We have had a discussion with one of the local hospital chief, and they were quite supportive to this idea because it was very difficult to get the albumin. In fact, they even had to cook the fishes directly to be provided to the patients. So this is one of our means to provide solutions to provide albumins at local level. The albumin that have been converted into powders, we can distribute this to the local medicine sellers or the jamu or herbal drinks. And we have such a big market for this. We can also distribute this directly to the new mothers as well as other people who got injured. Competitors, there are so many other competitors, at least in Java. But based on our experience and observation, the qualities from those competitors quite vary. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good. Our target now is how can we compete against them with quality. We are quite confident of our product quality. The snakehead fishes that come from the clean water, the peatlands that are not polluted yet, will generate high quality products, and this has been proven as well. And therefore, with this fact, we are quite confident that we can compete against our competitors. With such a quality, we believe that these local products, just even by selling the albumins, and you know that the market for this is quite big, almost 6.77 billion US dollar by 2026, maybe we can take only a little percentage of this. With a potential revenue of 2 billion rupiahs per year, we can take it. We can take the market niche. And we believe that with 10% average growth and net margin of 30%, we can make those local companies thrive. What about Agrapana itself? We develop those local companies and we create regional laboratories. This is part of our revenue stream sources other than R&D and consultation. We have also prepared several districts that we can engage through royalties. This is another thing that we have prepared. This will be supported by engaging by the local governments with our partners, other NGOs that can support us, including with the funders. The funders really understood our concept that they know that we work for our nature as well as for our community. That is our main goal, and our spirit is altruism. We always try to act as the servant of the public. We want to grow together with the local community. This is our dream and our goal for the next 5 years. We will construct few more labs in different regions. Our investment in those labs can be part of our contribution to the local people, although it might not be significant. 58% of our income comes from royalty that we plan to take every 2 or 3 years. Currently, we are preparing the scheme, and hopefully this can be one of the biggest sources of our income in the future. In terms of dividend, we can also get some dividend from this, but the most important thing that we are thinking about is to maintain its sustainability. How can we encourage the people to take care of the nature while taking care of their lives as well? Profit sharing will be source of income as well. It might not be that big, but as a company,
Ada sharing sedikit.
we have the obligation to show some sharing as well. Our achievement so far, what have we done so far with Alam Siak Lestari? As a company, we managed to make them winning an international competition in, among others, MIT Solver Challenge 2021 in the category of resilient ecosystem, and they even won the GM Prize Awards. We really take pride of this success. Our concept in protecting the nature while engaging the local community to work with us and generate livelihood really made it. But our first priority are nature and social aspects. Economy comes later. Next. What do we need now? Since our goal is to build more labs in different regions, we will need such a big amount of money. Hopefully, by our plan to have royalty, we can make our dream come true in developing more labs in different regions. If any one of you would like to give us grant or source or crowdfunding, this might help as well. What about the local companies? Maybe they will need sustainable investment that focuses on the social and environment, but focusing on the social aspect first. Profit will follow later. As long as the company can live sustainably, I believe that the economic aspect will also follow. This is our main priority. Of course, we also need partners to learn. We will need mentoring session as well to upgrade the quality of those small companies. So that is another dream of ours. So this is our team consisting of me, Pak Handi, and Pak Nico, who unfortunately cannot be present today. We are also supported by our local team, including Siak team, 10 persons. Sintang team, we have recruited 4 persons so far. All of them are local people, and they are all ready to take care of the nature and also improve the well-being of the local community. Thank you. Stay sustainable, everyone.
Thank you, Badiki, for the presentation. It was a really beautiful presentation. So we're gonna keep it coming questions from the online platform first. If those who are on online have any questions, just put your click the raise your hands button. There's no question. Then the live panelists, Dr. Donna or Diva, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask your questions.
Congratulations, Sir Dicky, for such an innovative approach in peatland conservation. I'm coming in now as an environmentalist. I want to know whether the products that you will form is based on harvesting of snake heads, and or is it a form of genetic engineering, or in other words, how do you ensure that the snakeheads will not go extinct? How about the sustainability of your supply? How do you plan to ensure that? Thank you.
Tes. Baik, terima kasih.
Thank you for the question, ma'am. We are truly aware that snakehead fishes must not be exploited till the end. Agrapana works in 3 areas: conservation, restoration, and cultivation or farming. Currently, snakehead fish, especially the micropel type or the toman fish as we call it in Kalimantan and Sumatra, they are predatory fishes. Predatory fishes means they have to be under control, but of course we will not exploit them until extinction. Most of those fishes are captured and cultivated or farmed, and this happens a lot in Kalimantan. Even in one day, they can produce up to 7.5 tons. And what about our buffer to prevent us exploiting them until the end? We cultivate or farm them. There is the so-called white snakehead. We call it Canas Priata in Layton. And this is the type that we can farm. And a lot of people already farm this. And this is what we can farm in the wet areas in peatland. This is our buffer efforts to prevent people from exploiting the snakeheads. But they truly realized that there are a lot of fish seeds that they can maintain in the forest so that they will not degrade the number of the snakeheads in the peatland. So they understand well about the importance of taking care of water table in the peatland so that their supply of fishes will not go extinct. So they will either keep taking care of the water table or they will cultivate the or farm the fishes.
Smart Plus Accelerator. So, Ferdi, go ahead and ask your questions. It's from online.
Oke, thank you. Mungkin ke Pak Diki dalam bahasa Indonesia ya. Thank you
Pak
Pak
Diki,
Diki.
please allow me to speak in Indonesian. Thank you for your presentation. I'd like to confirm about one thing. What I understand from your presentation is that your company is an R&D company, right? Which focuses on conservation. And that means your business model focuses more on consultation and royalty and dividend. Actually, to my understanding, the sales of albumin and others are not conducted by your company, but rather by your partner company. Is that correct? And if that is the case, the revenue generation from this company highly depends on your partners. And that means Agrapana doesn't have full control to increase your revenue. When it comes to long-term sustainability, are you going to focus on R&D in peatland or some other things? What is your core business model in the future? That's my core question. I just want to see whether this snakehead is just a project, side project for you, or is this the real core value of your business for the next 10 to 20 years? Thank you. Thank you, Pak Ferdi. For the first question, you're correct. By constructing many local labs, and as I said earlier, our livelihood or profit comes from dividend and products. You're right, we cannot control them completely, and that's why in one of our slides, we don't show you that we get a lot of profit from those things. However, we will generate patent and royalty, which hopefully can give us sufficient income. Consultancy is also part of our services because indeed we are an R&D company. When it comes to whether we are going to focus only on peatland, the answer is no, because our focus is ecological restoration. Why do we build labs at local levels? Currently, they might be situated in the peatland areas, but what I'm saying is we keep looking for opportunities. Now, what we found is the snakehead in the peatlands. And there are a lot of other opportunities in the peatland. Or maybe there are a lot of opportunities in the other forests. And that's why Agrapana also has different programs that can support those things. But for the next 3 to 5 years, our plan is to keep building local labs. Are they going to be always situated in peatland areas or not? We don't know yet. But certain thing is that the labs will be built in local areas where the local governments already have had environmental preservation programs. Otherwise, we would never come there.
Harvardi Hendarko from online. So, Pak Harvardi, go ahead and ask your question.
Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Dan terima kasih Pak Diki yang sudah
Thank you, Pak Diki, for your excellent presentation. Very informative indeed. My question is slightly different from what Pak Ferdi said. Maybe it just comes from a different angle. This is an R&D company, right? Which basically will involve a lot of cost. Not so much revenue, actually. And in this case, I found that what you do a lot is cooperation in the form of collective company, collective limited liability company with other stakeholders. My question to you now is, are you going to focus on having this collective company in every part of your arrangement? Or do you have any strategy to develop the labs not only as a pure lab, but also as revenue generators, which hopefully will become well known across Indonesia and hopefully someday at international level? So do you think the collective company arrangement is beneficial, or are you going to make another arrangement such as CV or cooperation agreement scheme so that Agrapana can have maybe not control, but have, let's say, freedom to develop further yourself and your business? And my second question is, as you mentioned earlier, a big royalty scheme.
Berdasarkan suatu parameter
Do
tertentu.
you think the royalty scheme is based on a certain fixed parameters, or could that be in the form of, let's say, if you market the products or you sell the products, use external companies so that those external companies will use another label on the products. So in this case, you are just producing white labeling products. Or will you develop your own labels? Because I think this will lead to two different parameters in determining what kind of business model you would like to have. That's my question. Thank you.
Harpadi.
Thank you very much, Pak Harpadi. I'll try to answer the first question. So for PT Bersama itself, and the question is whether it's always a joint proprietary limited or PT Bersama or not. So when we provide our supply for a particular region, we try to ensure that the community in this case is not only the workers, but they can also become owners. So we hope that they can have a sense of ownership. And we just provide them with facilitation till this joint proprietary limited is established. And we need to ensure that it has complete infrastructure and so on. We estimate that it would need 200 to 250,000 US dollars. Another opportunity would be if, let's say, there is a company that shows interest, we can have a cooperation with them. And our dream is for, let's say, 2023 is to have at least 3 joint proprietary limiteds each year. So in 5 years, we aim to have 5 of these. And this will certainly create dividends as well as profit sharing. So it's not an easy target to accomplish, but we will give our best effort. And the next question is to do with royalty. And how can we gain significant revenue? Well, royalty is one way to do that. So we can have cooperation with other companies. And perhaps that other company will be doing the production and we will receive royalty from them and so on. Or if we believe that it's better for us to implement it and so on, then Agrapana will do that. But at the end of the day, Agrapana aims to build one parent laboratory that will then provide support for the regional laboratories. So it will in itself be a separate ecosystem. And we try to also ensure that there's a feedback mechanism from Agrapana to region A, B, C, and so on. And Agrapana will be the one that will then operate this parent laboratory. This is our vision for, let's say, the next 5 years. So hopefully that answers it sufficiently, Pak Hartadi. Thank you very much, Pak Diki. Thank you for your response.
Thank you, Pak Hartadi. I think that's it for questions for Agrapana. Thank you, Pak Diki, for the presentation. Let's just give a round of applause for Pak Diki once again. And just for a reminder, if you guys are wondering about the product from Agrapana, you guys will receive it later on with the honey from PKH in the goodie bag in the end of the event. So once again, thank you, Pak Diki. Next up in line, we have Ibu Huda from Swarga Loka. And yeah, let's give a round of applause for Ibu Huda.
Tes, ya. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua.
Greetings and may peace be upon you. My name is Huda Agustina, and I am the director of BAMDESMA Swarga Loka. BAMDES, in this case, refers to village-owned enterprise. And I'm here with my colleague, Hanafi, who is a village chief and is also part of BUMDES Swarga Loka. In this opportunity, I would like to present about our business, which is the Swarga Loka Ecotourism. So Swarga Loka Ecotourism is carried out in a peatland, and this covers an area of approximately 1,449 hectares. The majority of it is forest, 1,303 hectares. We also have bushes of 39 hectares and also swamp areas. In this case, we are not only profit-oriented, but our business is also aiming to have environmental conservation, community economic empowerment, as well as education through sustainable management. Swarga Loka, in this case, is managed by the village-owned enterprise or the economic institutions owned by villages. And the goal here is to develop a paladiculture model covering 87 hectares and also 1 hectares of aquaculture. And we also aim to be able to produce 523 tons of fishes in the swamp area each year. And this is our location here in Swarga Loka. So it's approximately 170 kilometers from the capital city. Now, back to the issue. As we know, in the last 10 years, we have experienced major forest fires. And as such, hectares of land has also been burnt. And we also have illegal logging. And this is in the peatland ecosystems. This is done by irresponsible parties. And we also find that there is low awareness among the community. And this is also related to harvest failures as well as COVID-19. Another issue that we're facing is the local government's regulation that doesn't give sufficient attention to peatlands. As such, we come up with the following solutions through the Swarga Loka Ecotourism. This is like a smart patrol that is community-based, and this also has the following impact. Forest fires are almost never an occurrence again. And with the increasing number of visitors, we find that the use of electricity for catching fishes is now reduced. And there's also increasing livelihood opportunities for the community, for example, as drivers or by creating handcrafts, fishermen's culinary opportunities, and so on. There's also legality for social forestry from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. And these are the ecotourism products that we are offering. These are natural biodiversity resources. The first is we have the purun grass plantation. So in this case, the purun grass is one of the raw materials to make handicrafts. And you can also see some samples of our product here in this room. And we also have the Amazon channel. In this case, this is also made by our natural vegetation that you can find in the peatland areas. And we also have like a boat tour in the peatland area. It's part of the ecotourism. And we also have aquaculture. So this covers several types of fishes, including catfish. We also have the Pondok Wisata. This is for resting area, and also that you can also use it for meetings and so on. And we also have Sinoman Hadra. This is one of the local culture. And here you can also see some examples of our handicraft. This is also made by 5 female groups as well. And we have a total of 150 female crafters. And this is an example of one of our famous culinaries. It's called Bingka Tumis, and you won't find it in any other region. And I would like to now discuss our market opportunities. So we aim to have approximately 1,200 visitors each year. 50% of them will be the general tourists, 15% will be families, 15% will be students, and 10% will be government institutions. In this case, we are specifically targeting the university students because we hope that Swarga Loka will not just be an ecotourism, but also eco-education. So we aim to be able to educate the students and the university students so that they can conserve the peatlands as well as the purun grass plantation, so that this can also generate revenue for the villages. Because indeed, this is part of what we inherited from the generation above us. And this is our revenue starting from January of 2021 or January of 2022 all the way till May of 2022. So you can see from the graph that there was a slight reduction in March to April because this is when the Eid al-Fitr or the fasting month occurred, and we closed during the fasting month. But the good news is that our revenue continues to increase to this day. And this is the design. This is a 3D design of what we aim to build for family gathering purposes. And also we will have water bicycles, accommodation. So visitors who would like to spend the night in our ecotourism area can do so. And through that design, we estimate that we would need the following budgeting. For infrastructure, we aim or we estimate that approximately 1 billion will be needed, and we hope that we can have support from the investors. And this is our prediction for our increasing revenue. First of all, we will receive revenue from the tickets. With investors allocating their investment to Swarga Loka, we hope to also be able to obtain revenue from 13 items. At the moment, our total revenue is approximately 99 million per year, but in the future, we estimate that this can reach 540 million per year. So we hope that our profit can also increase in the future. And you can see here our revenue versus our costs. And our current net profit is 14.85 million. but we estimate and we are also confident that we can increase our revenue and profit, as you can see on the third column here. So we aim to be able to grow our business by 20 times. And this is one of our achievements here that we have received since the Swarga Loka ecotourism has been developed. The first is an award from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry for the Puluhan Thani village as one of the Desa Peduli Iklims at the national level in 2021. And this is one of the best awards from the MOEF. And this is my team. So I am the director, and these are my colleagues, Shihabuddin as the secretary, and Norma as our treasurer. And we also have support from 5 village chiefs. And they're also part of the Swarga Loka Bumdesma. So this marks the end of my presentation. And I truly hope that you can also invest with us and also provide grants for us, because I believe that we have a joint vision here, which is to improve the local economy and also conserve the environment. Because when we do so, environment will also take care of us. Thank you and greetings.
So we're gonna give a chance for the online participants as well. First, for if they have any questions. If they don't have any questions, Diva or Dr. Donna, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask your question.
Congratulations, Ibu Huda. And our projects in the Philippines on ecotourism is similar to yours. And I do hope that in the future, you will be able to visit us and we will be able to visit you. My question is, do you have plans to attract foreign tourists, and what are your strategies in doing so? That's my simple question.
Ya, terima kasih Bu atas pertanyaannya.
Thank you for the question, madam. So in my presentation, I mentioned that we are targeting local tourists. If we can have international tourists, that would be amazing. And we are doing several promotions like our session today. So we have participants from several countries now. So this is one example of how we will do that. And in addition to the Swarga Loka ecotourism, we also have handicrafts. And our handicrafts have already been exported. And our handicrafts are also marketed through cooperation with international companies. In addition to that, we continuously also promote our activities via social media, local media, and we also conduct various events as well to promote about the ecotourism. So I think in order to have international tourists, we need to consider their point of arrival at the airport and also their access to our region.
Thank you, Dr. Donna, for the question. Since there's no question from online, Diva, do you have any question? Do you want to add a question? Okay.
Cek. Terima kasih.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. So I would also like to ask a question. So this is actually still related to the previous question, which is how we can attract international tourists. So in the Swarga Loka ecotourism, we have several ecosystems. And for example, some species that we have here are the orangutans and also the bakantan. The bakantan is the proboscis monkey. So we try to also maintain this habitat. And as we know, international tourists are very much interested in conserving these wildlife species. Especially in South Kalimantan and in Swargaloka. So in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, there was an Australian tourist here that also did a research on what wildlife species can be found in Swargaloka. And we also try to, once again, bring the orangutans to their original habitat. So this is some additional points from our side. Greetings and may peace be upon you.
Okay, so is there any further questions or addition? If there's any further questions from the online participants? If not, then thank you, Ibu Huda, for the presentation. Once again, give a round of applause for Ibu Huda for the presentation. Jump into the next slide. Oh, so we're gonna once again bring in Dr. Zaiman for closing remarks. And once again, here is Dr. Zaiman.
Thank you very much. Big round of applause to all of cohort members. Thank you very much. Really showcase that all of you guys are working towards a common goal, working on very interesting solutions to better manage and better protect our very fragile ecosystems. So thank you very much for being part of this program. We would like to also thank our different partners that we have here. We have members from IDH. Can you please raise your hands? IDH. Yeah, thank you very much for being part of this. We have WRI as well, members from WRI. Thank you, thank you. And from TRCRC, all the members, raise your hands. So everybody knows each other. The panelists, of course, thank you so much, both everybody that's here and everybody online for your very good feedback and questions. So we're going to continue this program with a networking session. You know everybody here. You have heard everybody's kind of programs. So the people here can have direct feedback with each other, direct feedback from our team, so that we can better further the next agenda of this program. The virtual partners, sorry for you not being able to make it, but you can engage with the participants by completing the form, the Google form, which will be available online. So looking forward to this next step, cohort members 2 will be going through the same sort of process. So hopefully everybody can stay engaged and work on that. Thank you very much to our support from the EU delegation as well. Without the continuous support, we would not be able to bring in all the different partners, bring in all your different cohort members and different feedback from the different expert panelists. So thank you very much to everybody. And that's it for me.
So before we go to the eating session and photo session, I would like to call the participants for the cohort members for receiving a certificate of appreciation from Dr. Zaiman himself. So first up, I would like to introduce, call out Pak Dede Purwansyah to come up front again and receive the certification from Dr. Zaiman. I'm gonna do this one by one, so be patient with us, okay? So before Pak Dede leaves, I would like to call out Pak Fitrian and Pak Tommy as well from IDH and WRI for a picture where the certification. I'll get out the picture. Round of applause for Pak Dede one time. Group photos, yeah. Just wait for me. So next cohort member, Pak Diki Asmoro. Yeah, congratulations, Pak Diki. Okay, so picture again for the three of us. Okay, thank you, Pak Diki. Round of applause for Pak Diki one last time. Okay, next I would like to call Jam from Wild Wild Pigs. Congratulations. Okay, so last one, would like to call Ibu Huda to up front. Oh, satu lagi Bu, satu bareng. Okay, thank you all for the participation and while listening to the presentation. Terima kasih semuanya. Sekarang waktunya kita buat.
Okay, thank you everyone. And now, feel free if you would like to ask questions directly for them.
Go ahead and help yourself with the food, I guess. So, and this, for the online participants, feel free to, if you have any questions, and quick survey at this Google form, and fill it out if you guys have a chance to. Thank you so much, everybody.